Imagine you're sealed inside a steel box, the air thick with the smell of oil and sweat. Key, the engine roars like a beast right next to your ear, shaking every bone in your body. Outside, the world is a storm of mud, explosions, and machine gun fire. This isn't a video game. This was the terrifying reality for the very first tank crews of World War I. Today, we're diving into the untold story of the men who went to war in these iron coffins, many of whom faced a gruesome end without ever firing a single shot. These weren't the sleek, powerful machines we think of today. The first tanks, like the British Mark I, were clumsy, unreliable behemoths. They were designed to break the stalemate of trench warfare, to crawl over barbed wire in no man's land. But for the men inside, the tank itself was often a bigger enemy than the Germans. Let's put ourselves in their shoes. You're a young soldier, probably pulled from the infantry, and you're told you're part of a new, secret weapon. You see this massive, diamond-shaped machine, and maybe you feel a surge of hope. This could be what wins the war. But then, training begins. The first thing you notice is the noise. The engine is right there in the crew compartment with you, completely unshielded, so loud you can't hear the person next to you shout. You communicate with hand signals and by kicking the driver's back. Then there's the heat. The engine could heat the inside to over 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It's suffocating. But you can't open a hatch because you'd be an easy target for snipers. And the fumes. Oh, the fumes. Carbon monoxide, gasoline vapor, and cordite smoke from the guns would fill the cabin. Crews were often sick, dizzy, and sometimes passed out completely from the toxic air. It wasn't uncommon for a crew to be knocked out of action, not by an enemy shell, but by their own engine. Navigation was a nightmare. The driver could only see through a tiny slit. To make a turn, the entire tank had to lock one track and pivot, a process that required from men. 2 men operated the primary gears, and 2 others, called gearsmen, sat in the back, one for each track, managing the secondary gears on the driver's signal. A simple turn was a feat of coordination in a deafening, shaking hell. Get it wrong, and you'd throw a track or dig yourself into a shell crater you couldn't escape, okay? And these machines broke down constantly. The transmissions failed, the engines overheated, the tracks snapped. On the very first day, tanks were used in battle at the Somme in 1916. Out of 49 tanks meant to attack, only 32 made it to the starting line. Of those, 9 broke down before even reaching the enemy. 6 more got ditched in trenches or craters. The crews of these stranded machines were now sitting ducks, trapped in a steel box in the middle of no man's land. Their options were grim: stay inside and wait for a shell to find them, or make a run for it across open ground, facing a hail of machine gun fire. But the most terrifying fate was fire. The tanks carried large amounts of gasoline in 2 fuel tanks located high up inside the crew compartment, gravity feeding the engine. Think about that. You're in a metal box, being shot at by armor-piercing bullets that, when they hit, would send red-hot shards of metal called spall flying around the inside, like deadly shrapnel. If one of those shards, or a direct hit, ruptured a fuel line or a tank, the result was an instant inferno. There was no quick escape. The hatches were small and heavy. Panic in a dark, cramped space, with flames and toxic smoke filling the air, meant many crews didn't stand a chance. They were burned alive, trapped inside the very machine that was supposed to protect them. These men died without ever engaging the enemy, victims of a technological experiment in the middle of a battlefield. It's a chilling thought. You sign up to fight, to make a difference. But your end comes not from a heroic last stand, but from a mechanical failure or a design flaw. You're just trying to get your machine to the fight, and suddenly your world is nothing but heat and smoke. As technology progressed into World War II, tanks became more reliable, more deadly. But some of the old horrors remained and new ones appeared. Take the American M for Sherman. It was a good tank, produced in massive numbers, but it had a deadly reputation among its own crews. who grimly called it the Ronson, after the lighter company slogan. Lights up the first time, every time. The early models stored their ammunition in the upper hall, unprotected. A direct hit from a German Panther or Tiger Tank S powerful cannon could easily penetrate the Sherman S thinner armor and ignite the ammunition. The resulting explosion, called a brew-up, would blow the turret clean off the tank and instantly incinerate the crew. Once again, tankers could be killed in a flash of fire before their gunner could even traverse the turret to aim. One veteran tanker described the sound of a hit. "It wasn't a big boom," he said, "but a sharp, metallic clang. That clang was the sound of an 88mm shell punching through the armor." What followed was a split second of silence, and then, if you were unlucky, the world-ending roar of your own ammunition cooking off. There was no time to think, no time to escape. One moment, you were a soldier in a tank. The next, you were gone. Imagine being the tank commander. You're desperately scanning the landscape for threats. Knowing your German counterparts have superior guns and thicker armor, you have to rely on numbers, on flanking maneuvers, on teamwork. You spot an enemy tank. You give the order to fire. But before your gunner can line up the shot, that terrifying clang echoes through the hull. A flash of white-hot light, and then nothing. Your war is over. You never even fired a shot. This was the psychological burden carried by every tanker. Every time they buttoned up the hatches, they knew they might be sealing their own tomb. They weren't just fighting the enemy. They were fighting their own equipment, their own vulnerability. It took a special kind of courage to climb into one of those machines day after day, knowing that a single, unlucky hit could mean a horrific, fiery end. The stories of these men are often lost in the grander narratives of battles and strategies. You see the black and white footage of tanks rolling across fields, but we don't feel the floor plates vibrating. We don't smell the fumes. We don't hear the deafening roar, and we don't feel the gut-wrenching fear of a brew-up. The evolution of the tank is a story of trial and error. And the cost of that error was paid in human lives. From the clumsy, fume-choked boxes of WWI to the Ronsons of World War II. The path to the modern main battle tank is paved with the sacrifices of crews who were pioneers, testers, and warriors all at once. They were men who faced death not just from the enemy, but from the very steel that surrounded them. Their story is a powerful reminder that in war, sometimes the greatest battle is just getting to the fight. Thank you for watching. If you found this glimpse into the tanker's world interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into military history. Let us know in the comments what piece of forgotten history you'd like us to cover next. Until then, stay curious.